Lucas Tracy, I've got a bone to pick with you, buddy. So, just finished shoveling my driveway because we're getting a shit ton of snow right now. I go back upstairs into my room, right here, my abode. I see Lucas Tracy has uploaded a YouTube video, and he's talking about Justin Gaethje versus Paddy Pimblett. Being a Lucas Tracy fan, I'm expecting Lucas to say some bad things about Justin Gaethje, and me, as a Justin Gaethje glazer, okay, I gotta defend the honor of my man, or of my favorite fighter. I've already watched about 2 minutes of this, but I decided it would be better if I would react to this live and talk about the issues of what Lucas Tracy says. I love Lucas Tracy. This is not a diss to Lucas Tracy. He's probably one of my favorite MMA YouTubers next to Bedtime MMA. This isn't me hating on Lucas. I like Lucas a lot. I think he's super awesome. I'm a very big fan of him. But, we got to talk about it.
Justin the Highlight Gaethje, Paddy the Baddy Pimblett are going to be fighting for an interim title. The problem is these guys are not the best lightweights in the world. They're not even the top 5 best lightweights in the world.
But that's the thing. They are both top 5 best lightweights in the world. I agree with this idea that this isn't the best fight we can make for the interim title, but they are both top 5 best lightweights, for sure.
There's a belt on the line, and when there's a belt on the line, you want it to be the best versus the best. And that's just not what you're getting with Paddy, who has had the easiest path to a title fight in UFC history, who's beaten nothing but old fighters that are totally washed up.
I agree with this take. I think Paddy's, path to the belt has been pretty leisurely, honestly. Like there's nothing you can pick out in Paddy's resume in the UFC so far where you're like, oh, he fought a monster right there. I mean, his hardest fight was Jared Gordon, and that's concerning. If you're going to be fighting for an interim title and you haven't really proven you're past that skill level where you were arguably beat by Jared Gordon, then you shouldn't be fighting for an interim title. If anything, this should be Justin Gaethje versus Arman Sarukian, or Charles Oliveira versus Arman Sarukian. But there's some problems with those types of matchmakings that Lucas will be discussing.
And Justin Gaethje, who's like 38 years old, who has already had his crack at UFC titles, has lost, cannot grapple at all, is horrible on the ground, just awful on the ground.
He is bad on the ground, obviously. He's not good on the ground at all, but that's not why people like Justin Gaethje. Gaethje is that type of fighter where it's like you don't really expect to see him in title contention. I mean, maybe early in his career you would expect to see him there, but now you don't think about Justin Gaethje and say, yeah, he's going to be a champion, Like people just watch him cuz he's fun to watch. And I think the point where people start disliking Gaethje is the fact that he stays in title contention or he stays in the top 5, even though his fights and his style don't really reflect that type of placement. And that's why people don't like him that much, because he's doing good enough to insert himself into the title picture without really making it clear that he deserves a shot at the title. And people don't, when they're watching title fights, they don't want to hear about Justin Gaethje trying to put himself in title contention when he's already lost a couple of times. And just because he's lost his title shots before, it doesn't mean that he shouldn't get another one. If he does well enough, he should get another one, even if he's already lost before. But that's where the rift starts to form, where people don't really, they want to disassociate the title picture with Justin Gaethje, and he just stays there.
And the stylistic matchup is fun, but people are really upset that it's not Arman Sarukian, that it's not Max Holloway versus Charles Oliveira.
I haven't heard one person say they're upset that it's not Holloway and Charles Oliveira. I think the BMF matchmaking for that was good. I agree that it should be Arman Sarukian, and he should be in the title picture right now. He should be in this fight, whether it's against Paddy, whether it's against Justin, whether it's against Charles or Max, anybody like that. He should be fighting for the interim title right now, because him versus Topuria is the most clear fight to be made.
Arman Sarukian, the moment he headbutted Dan Hooker, is the moment he forfeited a potential interim title fight.
People forget, man, that headbutt broke Dan Hooker's nose, and he still fought anyway. So the only reason why that fight didn't get called off is because of Dan Hooker. He's just, mate, Hooker by knockout G.
There are no more pay-per-views. There are numbered cards. Interim title fights have, most of the time recently, been shitty anyway.
I think this is a good point to be talking about, where it's like, yeah, it's not the best fight that we made, but we're not paying $80 for it. That establishes a bad relationship between the viewer and the UFC, where it's like it's not the best fight in the world, but at least we're not paying $80 for it. It's like we should still be getting the best fights in the world. That's when you make the best against the best, that's gonna draw people in. The people watch the UFC and watch title fights to see the best fighters in the world fight each other. That's kind of an issue when we're talking about the first title fight of the year, interim title fight of the year, or I guess second, is Paddy Pimblett versus Justin Gaethje, where it's like the fifth ranked guy versus the third ranked guy. The number one ranked guy is right there. Armin did get screwed over, and I hate to say that because he's such an annoying cunt. You know, you can't be headbutting people, you can't be inactive for 17 months and then expect a title shot. This is like a purely like poor circumstantial title picture where it's just like, yeah, we should have, Sarukian in here, but he is just an absolute bitch, you know? He's so annoying and he's so entitled. And like Gaethje's entitled, he has been entitled recently. I wouldn't say he was before, but recently he's been entitled. But like, it's also people love Justin Gaethje and they're gonna watch. And if he's on the first pay per view of the year, you bet your ass people are gonna be tuning in. But then you have Paddy Pimblett, where it's like, what the fuck is he doing here? You know, Tony Ferguson, Bobby Green, Michael Chandler. Are we fucking serious right now? The reason why people are hating on this so much is because it's for an interim title fight. If this were just a normal fight on a the main card, people would be hyped as fuck. But this should be Oliveira versus Sarukian 2, or I don't even. That's the problem with this. It's like it shouldn't be this, but what else could it be? Everything is so fucking annoying with the lightweight title picture right now.
I think MMA fans are really upset. Arman Sarukian's the most deserving. Arman Sarukian's the most deserving. He is when it comes to what he's done in the octagon. You can't be headbutting people the day before a main event. You can't jeopardize the fight like that. It's
The dreaded, he's the best, but there's always something with Sarukian. Like it sucks because you want to root for him when you watch him fight. Like when you watch his act, if you were a UFC fan and you only watched fights, like you didn't pay attention to any of the media, you didn't pay attention to the weigh-ins, you just tune in for the card and you watch the card, you would think, why isn't Sarukian fighting for the title? Why isn't he fighting for the interim title? And the problem with Sarukian is that he is entitled, he is annoying, and he makes really fucking bad decisions. He pulled out of the uh what was it, the Makachev title fight one day before the fight happened. He headbutts Dan Hooker at the weigh-ins after being inactive for 17 months, jeopardizing his main event in his first fight back. He's just a fucking idiot. And that's the reason why you can argue against him being in a position where he's fighting for the interim title.
can't reward that behavior. Basically, every MMA fan understands that. But again, it makes sense why people just. Pimblett Gaethje is not a high level fight. And that's because Paddy Pimblett has just beaten fighters that are old, washed up, and on loss streaks. And then you've got the other guy, Justin Gaethje, who's Rufus, who goes out there and slugs for the fences. He can't wrestle, he can't grapple, and he doesn't even knock anyone out.
He's not a good wrestler. He's not a good grappler. I mean, he got taken out by Fiziev and almost put in an inverted triangle. Fair criticism. He's not the most entertaining. He doesn't knock anybody out. Maybe not recently. He hasn't had these standout knockouts, but you look at his whole fucking career. I mean, actually, no, even recently. I mean, he fucking knocked out Dustin Poirier with a head kick through the guard. It's a weird hill to die on. But yeah, when you see interim title fights or title fights, honestly, interim title fight, it's basically like number one contender. Like I'm next, like for sure I'm next. You want to believe that's the best you can get to fight the best. When you're seeing somebody fight the champion, the person who's challenging, you really want to believe that this is going to be the guy to dethrone the king. Like this is going to be the guy to take out the dude at the top. And when Paddy can't finish Tony Ferguson, okay, you finished Michael Chandler, you finished Bobby Green. How many people have done that? Paddy already was not looking very like he looked okay. Like he looked his best against Michael Chandler, but it's Michael Chandler. He's bad. He's really bad. Okay, Paddy's big test. That's Justin Gaethje. It's like, yeah, but there's like a glaring issue with Justin Gaethje's fight style. It's like he can't grapple, and Paddy Pimblett can grapple. When he beat Michael Chandler, people were talking about him versus Oliveira. I think that would have been better than this, but then you have the issue with the whole interim title fight thing where it's like, okay, let's say Paddy versus Oliveira. Oliveira beats Paddy. Now we got Oliveira versus Topuria again. and it's like we already know how that's going to go. So unless you want to make Oliveira defend an interim title against Sarukian, or you just want to skip Sarukian, like there's a whole bunch of issues with this. I don't. It's just this thing's whole. There's so many criticisms for every side of this fight. For every criticism you can have, there's a solution, and then there's another criticism, and it's just like there seems to be no solution here. There's absolutely no solution for what what can be done for this interim title fight. We just kind of have to accept the position that we're in because there was really no better solution.
Yeah, you've got this guy that's promoted and hyped up by the UFC as the most entertaining fighter ever and the most violent fighter ever, even though he's very entertaining and he's very violent, but he's not the most. And he's just horrible on the ground. And then you've got Paddy Pimblett, who, is not going to knock anyone out. And if he submits Justin Gaethje, it's like, yeah, well, we saw that coming 1,000 miles away. And of course, the younger in their prime lightweight that is got all the fucking promotion behind them, of course, they're gonna have a good chance. And at the end of the day, the winner of this is just gonna get folded into a lawn chair. I mean,
These guys aren't the best in the division, and then they win. Like either one of them wins, you got to face fucking Hydra after this. You got to face the final boss. Sarukian would be, Radon, like the dead version of Radon in Elden Ring. Taporia would be like the fucking Radon in the DLC. This is literally the most difficult final boss ever. And like these two guys, you wouldn't even think about them having a chance against Taporia. There's arguments for both guys. It's like, oh yeah, but there's this, yeah, but there's this. It's just like it's Taporia. It's like it's a really difficult fight to justify for either of them. Like if either of them win and they're the interim champion, you still can hardly justify other than the fact, oh, they're the interim champion. That's the only thing they got going for them for people being like they deserve to fight Taporia because it's like they're both going to get murdered.
we believe that Armand can potentially be a real champion. We believe that Max Holloway can give Topuria a tough fight because we saw him give him a tough fight. The point that I'm making is if Justin Gaethje beats Paddy Pimblett by decision, we know Topuria is going to flatline him. If Paddy Pimblett goes out there and takes Justin Gaethje down and subs him, it's like, yeah, we saw Rafael Fiziev accidentally basically do the same thing. Rafael Fiziev, I mean, come on. Max Holloway's better, Charles Oliveira's better, Armand's better, Ilya's better, and a guy that just left the division is better in Islam Makhachev. That's 5 people that were just at lightweight last year.
The only problem with adding Makhachev in there is the fact that he's not at lightweight anymore. So it's just like completely irrelevant when we're talking about where lightweight's at now. So, I mean, like I guess if you want to add like extra meat onto your argument, it works, but he's not in lightweight anymore, so he's not a better. Sure, he was a better lightweight, but now he's a welterweight. So that's the only problem when we're talking about Islam Makhachev is he's not going to be in lightweight title contention probably for the rest of his career. You name 3 guys who are in the rankings, number 1, number 2, number 3, Armin, Charles, Max, that would make them 4 and 5. And if there's still a problem with I feel like I'm just talking myself in a circle here. There's still a problem with the fact that number 4 and number 5 are fighting for the interim title, but then you talk about the top 3, and it's like, well, we just saw Max Holloway get knocked out by Taporia. Well, we just saw Charles Oliveira get knocked out by Taporia. It's more interesting if Max fights Taporia again because he gave him a hard fight, but if we see the same thing again, it's going to be, oh, well, we already saw that last year. You put Armin Sarukian in an interim title fight, and then you talk about all the bullshit that he does, where he headbutts people and he stays inactive for 17 months. Talking about this interim title fight, it just feels exhausting because it's like it's the same problems over and over again. It's we talk about the same thing for 14 minutes, and it's like the argument is the same, the solution is the same, but then the criticisms for that are the same. It's like a circular thing here. It's like the whole thing is fucking ridiculous, to be honest.
I think it's just an inconvenience to start the year off. You cannot reward Arman Tsarukyan for headbutting his opponent. How do you disincentivize it? Well, you punish a fighter who does that by not giving them an interim title. I think as an MMA fan, we just should, for this UFC 324, I think we need to say, you know what? Normally a fight like this would be a disgrace, but because of the circumstances, it is what it is. Like Max Holloway says, it is what it is. And you know what? Let's just enjoy the circus.
Yeah, I'm completely with Lucas on this. I had a bone to pick with him because he was talking mad shit about Justin Gaethje, but in terms of like where we're at right now, I think this is a completely reasonable and honestly the correct take. It's just like this title fight is completely circumstantial. We're just in a really shitty spot right now in terms of like the championship picture in pretty much every division. It's not looking good at pretty much anywhere. Even featherweight, we got Lopez versus Volk too. It's like we just saw Volk shut out Lopez for 5 rounds. Except, but yeah, but that big knockout in round two, man. That fight was almost over, man. You got saved by the bell. I think he still lost that round anyway. There's so much odd shit happening in the UFC right now. The best thing to do is to just be like turn your brain off and enjoy this. It's gonna be a good fight. It's gonna be a fucking crazy fight. And if it isn't, oh fucking well. I mean, that's what happened all of last year. Early year it's gonna be a bit rough. I mean, for the next 2 or 3 months, it's gonna be probably pretty rough, I'd say, in terms of the numbered events and the high level fights. But other than that, we'll be in a better spot soon. Just kind of got to muddle through the shit a little bit to get to the gold. There's not much else we can do. There's a lot of problems with lightweight. There's really every division. Specifically lightweight, though, this thing, it's like a drama over here. It's not the best, but for what we have right now, for the poor circumstances that we got, it's pretty damn good. Go stream Too Big to Fail by Big Lunch Fan on SoundCloud. It's my second album. It's a fucking banger. Go give it a listen. I'd greatly appreciate it. Peace out, y'all.